Hello, Scorpio. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Gendron Tarot by Melanie Gendron. There's Melanie's name. Website is usgamesinc.com, if that wants to focus. Hopefully it did. Feel free to freeze frame on that if you want that information, of course. Supportive oracle cards are spellcasting oracle cards by Flavia, Barbara, and Lisbeth. There's the spelling of their names if you'd like it. On the back here is some websites. The one that usually sticks out to me is shewhoisart.com. There's a couple other there too. If you're interested, feel free to freeze frame and check them out. Excuse me. What do we have for Scorpio? Ooh, it's a spicy one to start with. The first card out was the Lovers, so I consider it a spicy card sometimes. Depends how you feel about it, right? The bottom card. No, that's the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords. Who's gonna Seven of Swords this? Is it gonna be you? Is it gonna be them? And I'm not taking care of people. Okay, I'm not taking care of people. Something is going on with these cards. Like, I want to keep pulling them from the bottom. I need to trust myself more, and that's a question. I need to trust myself more. For some reason, I got sucked into something is what I'm getting. And I got sucked into something, and all of a sudden it's like, no information. No new information is coming my way. And I'm like, what's the deal? I got sucked into something, and now I'm not getting information. Like, the information I want, at the very least, is not coming my way. And I gotta trust myself more. Okay. Something has caused some doubt. The Devil card is here on the dice, and then the Eight of Cups. And that's the Seven of Cups, but the Eight of Cups is here, too, in the dice. I feel like it's time to go away, but I'm questioning myself. I feel like I'm holding myself back. And it's kind of like, I feel like I don't know what's going to happen to this situation if I walk away, and I'm not sure about what's going to happen if I leave. So I feel like there's a little bit of doubt. I'm questioning if I should walk away. I want to walk away from it. Is it the right thing to do? I got to break some boundaries. That came out upside down. It did too. This came out upside down. Boundaries came out upside down. I got to break some boundaries. I got to trust myself. I know it's time to break some boundaries. That's the thing with Scorpio. It's kind of like, people have rules, and that's fun. But when I decide I need to change something, those rules, well, I just look at the repercussions. I just accept those repercussions, and I do what I need to do. Other people have rules. I have things to do. Is that real? Is that how it is? Other people have rules, but I have things to do. So, I don't know. I think within reason. I mean, within reason, not for nothing. But you'll decide if a rule is valid or not, and you'll respond accordingly. And then they're like, well, that's going to get me this. I can live with that. Here we go. And there you go. You got to trust yourself more. I'm not saying break rules. I'm saying make up your mind what you want to do, and you just trust yourself what you think is right. I feel like this is kind of like one of those readings, kind of like, I'm not saying to do something wrong, whatever that is. Like, you have to decide the repercussions and just be at peace with those repercussions. And there may be, because I feel like I'm kind of like, whatever the repercussions are, I don't think I'm investing in those repercussions. I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm out. I'm just out. I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not taking care of other people. I'm not going to look out for them when they don't look out for me. I'm not their babysitter. I'm not their mother. I'm not their father. I'm not their whatever. I'm not their caregiver. Whatever you want to call it. They need to do their own stuff. I'm not here to help them through their whole life. This is why the Lover's card is showing up. Self-love. I know people like to see something else, but it's showing up in where you're standing. You need to be in a better place emotionally and something that's healthy for you. This is something that's going to help you bring your energy back in alignment to where you can feel good about what you're doing and how you're living. Whatever this situation is, it's throwing you off. It's creating self-doubt. It's not helping you. It seems like it's very negative. I'm wondering if the lack of communication is a power play. The fact that somebody knows you want the information and they're purposely holding it back to drive you crazy or to try to have control over you. Oh, I'll tell you a little bit, Scorpio, when I'm ready, but you better keep me on my. You better stay on my good side if you want to know more. They might be playing those little weird games with you, and that doesn't usually work for Scorpio. They usually kind of. I think when you know that game is playing, at the very least, that is more likely to make you angry than anything else. Yeah, that's gonna tick you off. They were like pointing at this guy. Like, I didn't see it until I flipped it over. Like, they're gonna, like, the scorpion has a tail. Don't mess with the scorpion. Have I not said this to people before? Don't mess with the scorpion. Yeah, they could do this themselves. Where is their talent? Because the talent is like on this, which is telling me, and I'm seeing a specific image of somebody from my past. They may be very talented at manipulating people. Be aware of this. That's because I feel like that might ignite you if you realize what's going on. Somebody might be extremely talented at manipulating people, and I feel like most of us like to believe we can't be manipulated. This person is very talented at it. Very, very talented at it, if that's what they're doing. So if you see what's going on here, that might help you decide what's coming next, because a talented manipulator is a very dangerous person, in my opinion, because it's not just if they can manipulate you, it's about who they can manipulate around you. I think of them as very dangerous people. Like, they're underestimated a lot of times too. I feel like that's another thing. People don't see them for the power they actually have, and they purposely don't want you to see it. They want to be effective. They don't want to be seen. So there's a thing with that. They might have a little bit of like, they might like to be complimented, but they probably play it a little coy, like they're not as strong as they are, or they're not as effective as they are, or they're not pulling the strings that everybody is subject to here. They're very covert, but sometimes a little bit too likable, if that makes sense. You might throw this person off for a second. I feel like if you break the rules, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what you're doing. You're responsible for your own situation, but you might get away with it because they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. This person, if this person is that master manipulator, that talented manipulator, they may just not react to it. Distance yourself from them as much as you can. You should be fine. Be careful. I don't know. I feel like for a lot of you, this might be a work situation, because they're giving you a heads up. This person is very stressed about what you're doing. If you decide to break the rules and do what you're going to do, they're very stressed about it. But the closure is upside down, which is another card that came upside down. For them, it's not over, but they might act like it is. Scorpio understands that energy. I feel like you very much understand that energy, because I feel like Scorpio can do that. They can bury their emotions. You know how you feel about something. You know where you stand with something, but other people might not. Other people might be like, oh, that's ancient history. Nobody cares. Why would Scorpio care? And you might smile and nod. Right, why care? Meanwhile, in your heart, you're like, oh, I care. And I'm watching. And I'm waiting. This energy, same thing. But more in a fear aspect. It's very same in the sense of like they remember, they hold stuff, but the way it's different is that it's coming from a place of fear. So just be aware of that. This energy may look like they forgot it. They're never going to forget it, but they may play like they have. You know what that's like? Just keep that in the back of your head. You'll be fine. They seem to be taking like, they're watching, they're waiting, but they have a bigger end game here, that they're more invested in their bigger end game, whatever that is. Be aware of that. So I feel like this is another reason they're not saying anything. You're going to go back on the outside. I'm getting the Five of Pentacles here. You're going to go on the outside with them. I feel like you'd rather stay on the outside, but you never completely get on the outside is what I'm also thinking. So unless you completely move this company, even then, keep that in your mind. If this is a business thing and you're leaving a company and you're thinking, I'm leaving this person behind, don't underestimate them. Either they could show up again later, wherever you end up working next, or they could have influences that you're not seeing. Like, just because they don't work at the company you're going towards doesn't mean they don't have influence there. They could be that type of person, especially if they're a business person that's higher up. Those people hobnob with each other. Just be aware of that. Like, you might be surprised. Just keep it in the back of your head. Don't fear it. Definitely don't fear it. But just like, I feel like what I want to say is like, if somebody brings up that person's name, don't really talk about them as if you know them, and be careful what you say, because I feel like don't talk negatively about them is what I'm trying to be careful with. Like, I wouldn't talk negatively about them, but you don't want to talk positively about them. Just talk like, oh yeah, I was aware of them, but don't act like you knew them very well. Something like that. They might come. See, I feel like I feel like it's not over. Revenge is an evil thing, and it's a scary thing. If this person feels like they need revenge, you might be surprised how they get it. So we don't want to ignite that. I don't know. They're a weird energy. They do see, out of fear, they seem to be keeping it quiet, but it's just like it's always like there. It's there. I don't know. I don't want to create an energy of fear. Is there something else we should say about this for Scorpio? Because I'm like, what else should we be doing with this? Like, it feels like it could come back later, and as long as you're aware of that, you seem to be fine. The wheel is going to come back later, and the wheel may come back later. It may not go in your favor, but the less you acknowledge it, the less it matters. I almost feel like it's kind of like when the wheel turns later, and this person, say they one-up you, it might be one of those things where, you go to lunch and, you end up with liver and onions. It's gross. It's not that bad. It's kind of like I just won't eat. Or I'll just eat the onions. I don't even know if I would do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like this isn't great, but it's not ruining my life. It's like it's lunch. I'm over it. I'm moving on. It's not worth getting upset about, if you follow me. That's when it comes back later. That might be how it goes. And I feel like when they come back at you, it's the reason I'm using this liver and onions for lunch. Like, you're expecting him to have a great lunch, and then if you're me, I don't like liver and onions at all. It's gross. I wouldn't eat it. I just flat out wouldn't eat it. But if that shows up in front of you, you're like, oh, I was hungry, I was ready, I wanted to have a great slice of pizza, and then bam, that's there. You're like, oh, like that's not going to be a happy moment. But if you don't react to it, you're kind of like, well, I guess I'm just not eating today. I get up, I get a glass of water, or I get a drink, and I just leave. Or if like everybody's talking, it's like a working lunch. You're like, all right, well, I have to be here, but I got to get this away from me. This is revolting. It's fine. It's fine. I understand other people like it, but I don't. I'm just gonna move it away from me, best I can, and just move on. Like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm just not eating that. It's just not something I'm gonna do. You get past it. You move on. You audit it later, kind of like it was lunch. It doesn't matter enough. I'll plan better next time. I don't care, and you move on. The less of a reaction you have to that in the future, the more power you take away from this person. Because I feel like they're going to look, when it comes in the future, because I feel like they're trying to set you up and get you upset. If you don't get upset, it just makes them feel like they wasted their time. And I feel like they'll just kind of be like, well, like that's part of what they want. They want to see you, they want to see some type of emotional show. And if you don't play into it, it doesn't matter. I feel like the reason I'm giving that context is just like when it does come back around, it won't matter enough to really worry about it. But just be aware, especially if you start realizing this person is around. Because I feel like, for example, I'm going to use that liver and onions one more time. It's like you'd see that person that day, and then later it would be later that day that the problem would happen. Like the correlation would be there. Like you would see them, be like, that's interesting, and just kind of go about your day. Then that's later that day you would have the liver and onions moment. There's a correlation, even though it may not seem it. You know what I mean? They might be the reason people are eating liver and onions. You know what I mean? Just to be fair. And when there's just no response, or you just don't, if you don't even react to it, you just kind of let it sit there, and then you just throw it out and keep going. You're like, yeah, I wasn't hungry anyway. My stomach was off. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what it was. It was fine. If you just if you have that reaction, like, nah, it's fine. My stomach was off anyway. I didn't really think I was going to be eating, and I don't like that anyway. So that was fine. It worked out fine. You just move on. I just feel like the less of a reaction you have, they don't. I just feel like they go away. I feel like they're just saying that this person is never going to be an ally again, so be aware of it. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.